okay, getting the first pick.
Oh, get three, Pyro, get three with the...
Blade Kid putting on a clinic. Whole team's down. Oh!
Tranquility.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else in between, good evening and welcome back to Tranquility Gaming Season 8 coverage. Tonight, we start the halfway point of Stage 1 with our North American Harmony Tier feature match, where the currently undefeated Strix take on last season's semi-finalist, Chrysalis. Who will soar higher tonight, the Owls or the Butterflies? I'm Bowsy, and I'm joined here by Thorumea on the cast and Dor on the production. Thea, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well tonight, and honestly, I'm looking forward to this match between Strix and Chrysalis. The rosters of these teams have a lot of returning players to their teams, but also, they also have players from different teams and Harmony teams last season that are now in their teams. So, and even from Discord tier now playing for their teams. So it's going to be a sight of a lot of familiar faces, but maybe on different roles.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams pair out. As you mentioned, Chrysalis do have some returning members. Sep and Order are back on this team, but they also picked up some people along the line. Bubble Wyatt, for example, played for the Sky Guardians last season. He's back on this roster. Strix, on the other hand, they also have retained most of their roster. Yojimbo, Cherry, and Dai are back from last season. But Yojimbo's now on the tank role, as you mentioned. New roles for some of these players. But they also picked up a big factor from their Discord tier team in PVB, who was one of the standouts that Mr. Yeti and many people on the podcast, or many people in Tranquility, have been raving about. It's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be able to contend against Chrysalis, especially when Chrysalis just made a big pickup earlier today.
Yes, if you look at the roster transactions for Harmony here, it looks like Chrysalis has picked up Sergeant Pepper, who had just been released from Koala Kings just a few hours ago. So it'd be interesting to see how he will be integrated into the Chrysalis lineup. But, I'm not too worried because even on the side of Strix, they actually have someone who used to be playing in the Marsupial org. Their off-tank Matt used to play for Wisdom Academy in Marsupial org. So I think the familiar faces of Marsupial org is just everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to pretty much be a marsupial reunion between Matt and Sergeant Pepper. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out of that. It'll be interesting to see which team comes out of this, because this really could be a big battle between these two giants. But we're going to be heading into our first map here coming up, which is going to be Ilios. This is the weekly map choice that every single team in Tranquility has to face off against this week. So it's going to be interesting to see which team comes out in favor here on Ilios.
Oh, exactly. And, Ilios is one of, I guess for me, out of all the control maps, is one of the stranger maps. Especially the map known as Well. I think Well is a map that a lot of teams really aren't sure what could be or should be run there. We've seen people run a ball comp on Well. We've seen people run double shield on Well. And, it would be interesting to see where we're headed, and from the looks of it, we actually might be starting out on Well this time around. So, yeah, go ahead, Bowsy.
No, you go first.
Okay, well, I was going to point out that while we do know that Chrysalis is coming out with their team, we should take note that they actually have two ringers on their team for today's feature match. They have Anastasia playing as their off-tank, and, a very familiar face to Overwatch Tranquility, Malalia is filling in for their main support role.
Yeah, definitely. They will be without one of those original Chrysalis members in order this week, with Malalia taking over that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to work around that sort of problem here, having that lack of a main support that main support role will be interesting. But right now with the comps out, and we already see some variation between both of these teams.
Yes, I did say Well is a very interesting place to run certain comps, and it looks like Chrysalis is opting for a usual 6-man, and Strix coming out here with the hog from Yojimbo, and I'll be honest, Yojimbo has a nasty hog.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how Strix make use of this Hog Sigma composition. And it'll be interesting to see how the enemy team takes use of their composition with the 6-man Shadow Dive composition here coming out from Chrysalis. So we'll see which team is able to get it. PvB obviously getting a little bit of poke there. But Doha is also reigning supreme on this Pharah in the background. That is Phantom, for those who are unfamiliar, of Strix's lineup right now. But you already see Strix starting to get a little bit of pressure on here. Bubble Wide able to get that first kill on the Yojimbo. Good push there coming out from Chrysalis. But already a lot of damage being pumped into them. And no one really to deal with this Pharah might mean a little bit of trouble. But the Nighthawk getting booped in the pit and CTW dying on the side of Chrysalis. Chrysalis will be able to get that first point cap, but for how long?
Well, it looks like the fight's still ongoing, with both sides, pushing in with picks from each side.
Yeah, definitely. The fight's still pretty much going here. It's a long fight, and Doha Phantom brings out the 2K barrage, able to get Sepp and Malalia. And now the fight's starting to skew in the favor here for Strix. Starting to be able to get all those cleanup kills, trying to get all these things done, and that's going to be Strix taking the cap here. 20% taken for Chrysalis as Strix start counting up their own ticker.
Exactly. And, the only reason that Strix managed to turn that around is even when Chrysalis had managed to get picks at the start of the round, they weren't able to deal with the Pharah in the air. There's nothing really to deal with the Pharah in the air except for their off-tank Anastasia, and Sepp maybe hacking the Pharah out. And that's what made Strix turn over the map over time, is because Doha was still alive on that Pharah. But it looks like there is Chrysalis is building up towards both support ults.
Ooh, and that could have been detrimental. PvB landed that pulse bomb, barely able to sneak away there as the side of Chrysalis. They're starting to make their advance now onto the point here. They had Sgt. Pepper switch over to the Tracer here, so it's going to be a little bit more pick potential. Almost loses his life as I say that, but still, Crystal's looking for this advance. It looks like it's going to be coming in now with the Coalescence coming out from CCW. The push comes in as the Transcendence is used from Nighthawk here on the side of Strix. And Doha gets the kill on the set, but loses their life to the side of CCW. So now it's going to be a little bit hard here for Strix to be able to hold this. Here comes the Growth Fix coming out from Matthews. The beat is invested from Malayo, as is the bomb from Anastasia. And just like that, Crystals are going to be able to cap back this point, but Strix still trying to invest into this. As I say that, though, Nighthawk gets picked up by Sgt. Pepper, and the rest of the team will fall. CCW falls ahead again to the side of Doha, but at the end of the day, Strix are going to have to be retreating here.
Yes, Strix is coming in with key ults like PvP's Pulse Bomb, and maybe even that Barrage if Doha can build it right away. The only reason that Chrysalis got things right away is because they had those double support ults, and that was really massive for them to take the point back.
Yeah, definitely we'll see if Strix is able to make any sort of big moves. Anastasia doesn't have a mech, and Matthews able to get the kill on them, but that's a giant EMP coming out from Sepp. Gets about 3 members there on the side of Strix, and just like that, Crystal's starting to make the advance, but still, they're losing players one by one. Nighthawk died on the side of Strix, and Crystal is somehow, even with that Primal Race from Bubble Wyatt and that EMP from Sepp, they aren't able to get any sort of progress, and that's going to be Strix winning the fight.
Yeah, Strix just turned that over because there was someone capping the point. And when you're playing something like 6-man, you really have to play as a group, and that's what Chrysalis was doing completely right. But afterwards, they run into that issue of, okay, how are we going to deal with this Pharah who's in the air? Because we have nothing to deal with her. And, she's going to wreak havoc soon with Doha having his barrage, and he's going to, bring it up soon. But they will have pull.
Definitely, Sgt. Pepper tried to use the Pulse Bomb to try to get a pick there, but already 2 picks in favor of Strix right now. They're able to get Bubble Wyatt and Sepp with that, one of them with the Pulse Bomb from PvP, and now Strix are starting to clean up this fight. Overtime here for now for Chrysalis. Sgt. Pepper able to get that kill into Yojimbo here, but here comes the barrage from Phantom, able to get the kill right onto the D.Va. That is a massive pickoff as now that D.Va's out of play, and Phantom still reigning supreme. Gets the kill now onto Sgt. Pepper, as now all that's left are 3 players here for the side of Chrysalis. The Flux is going to come out here from Matthews, does not catch anybody in it, but still, there's a lot of damage going out here on the side of Strix. They're just getting all this damage done. Sepp finally able to deal with that pesky Pharah in the sky, but Strix are still getting these picks, and at the end of the day, it looks like it's going to be Strix winning this as long as they deal with Anastasia's D.Va cleanly and effectively.
Oh, exactly. And it looks like that's over and done with Strix taking well from Chrysalis. And honestly, that was a strong showing from Strix on how to play their Hog Sigma comp very patiently. Yes, they were, players from their team were being picked off at the start right away, but they were patient enough relying on Doha to get those picks as Farah. And honestly, Doha, I think, only died twice through all of that and got res both times by Mimp. So I want to see is how they're going to change things up because looking at the matchup, Chrysalis has opted to continue running this 6-man with the standard Reaper Sombra while Strix is coming up playing what is, our usual brawl. And this is something I don't normally see on what's this, Ruins. So I want to see how they're going to play this out, especially with Chrysalis probably going to try taking that mega control right away with Sep Sombra.
Yeah, definitely that Sombra will give them that advantage, but we'll see how this brawl from Strix works out. They're going to be able to get this point first, or at least get this point control first. See what the move is here from Chrysalis as they're looking for the perfect advance to make a move here. Try to find that perfect dive target, but it's kind of hard, but the enemy team is running the brawl here, but Bubble White has found somebody. It's PvB right in the backline on that Cassidy. Tries to dive on him along with the rest of the team. But Strix are still on this point, being able to contest this sort of push coming in. And PvB still able to get the kill onto Bubble White in the meantime. So looks like it's going to be a one fight here for Strix as Sep dies to Mimp and Matthew's able to get the kill on Malalia. Just like that, Strix will get the first cap here on Ilios Ruins.
And that's honestly a clean showing from Strix. Honestly, this seems like a very compositional difference because in the Brawl v Brawl between your standard Brawl and 6-man, your standard Brawl really has a lot more sustain and that cleave damage. And, because of that, we're seeing changes on the side of Chrysalis opting to play into this Brawl v Brawl, except, having that Mei instead of the Reaper that Strix has.
Yeah, that Mei is definitely going to be helping a little bit here for the side of Chrysalis. And already you see the impact right now. That wall coming out from Sep makes Yojimbo in the wrong place, and he gets staggered out. The Deadeye comes out from PvP, able to get the kill on the Malalia, and Mimp's able to get the kill on the Bubble White. So it's winnable here for Strix. They're going to lose Matthew's neck, but at the end of the day, that's going to be Strix winning this fight. And now Chrysalis have to soft reset while Bubble White comes back.
It looks like Mimp has this opted to commit with the window, hopefully to make space to buy time for Yojimbo to come back. And, it has deterred Chrysalis from pushing forward, but because of spawns, Chrysalis has grouped up much quicker than Strix.
Yeah, definitely, and already Bubble White gets burnt down again by PvB. Sergeant Pepper able to get the kill onto Matthews, however, so now Strix, without their off-tank in this next fight, it's going to be interesting to see what the move is here. And the Shatter comes out from Jimbo, 2 on the ground, including Sep on that Mei. The Mei gets picked out immediately, and there comes the bomb from Anastasia, unable to get anything, but Phantom's Death Blossom able to get CTW. Pepper gets the kill onto him as he ends up falling. Now the Deadeye comes out from Sergeant Pepper, trying to force Strix back a little bit, and he's able to get 2. Both supports picked off with that Deadeye. Strix, unfortunately, might not be able to win this fight as here comes Matthews trying to stall this out. Able to get the kill on the Sergeant Pepper, but might not be any sort of investment here as Chrysalis look like they're going to be able to set up cleanly on this point, and looks like they're going to start sticking up their counter of their own as long as Strix are able to not stagger this out. But Doha's starting to stagger it out. Looks like you're probably going to be seeing Strix, however, lose this, and that's going to be a one fight there for Chrysalis.
Well, this is going to be looking like one fight territory for Chrysalis. They really need to hold this considering Strix full cap at 99%. And they do have the ults coming in with a window from CTW and, that Shatter from Bubba. So Bubba really has to get the Shatter in to either get value or we use CTW's window to break Yojimbo's shield and give that opportunity for Bubba White to get that Shatter.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see who gets the advantage here. The window comes out here from CTW, and Strix already just back up from this sort of fight. They go on the left side now, so try to make it so they have a different approach here. The Shatter comes out from Bubble White, able to get the pick onto Matthews, and the bomb also comes out from the Strix off-tank. He doesn't get anything, but Mimp is able to get the kill into Sergeant Pepper, and now the beat is invested here from the side of Chrysalis, but there's still a lot of ults on the side of Strix's side. Mimp pops that window, and now Strix starting to get the picks in their favor. Malalia and CTW dead, and there's the Shatter coming out from Yojimbo. 3 on the ground. Sep dies in the aftermath, and Strix being able to clean up the rest of his fight. They will be getting this cap here on Ilios Ruins, and now it's overtime. Chrysalis need to try to find their way to the point, but it's going to be all for naught. Strix will win the first map in this series and go 1-up entering map number 2.
That was honestly a great showing from Strix in terms of the variety of compositions that they're running. from the Hog Sigma on Well to that, very clean brawl on Ruins. Like, they capped that at 99 and they just needed to win one fight and they were very patient with it. Whoever is ult tracking, I presume that's Nighthawk, did a really good job, calling that that they're gonna Chrysalis is gonna have Shatter and Window, and they played that very perfectly. And with this, with a score of 2-0, Strix takes the first map from Chrysalis.
Yeah, definitely. Really good showing here from Strix. They're able to do a lot of that sort of ability. They're able to cycle out those ults, do a lot of good pushes here, and run these sort of compositions that normally wouldn't work, but they're just outmaneuvering Chrysalis with them and being able to take advantage of it. But obviously, we know that there have been technical issues because, you know what? It's an NA production. You can't do anything about it. We're going to try to sort those out. We will be back. You might see the stream go down for a second, but stay tuned. You do not want to miss the rest of this match.